SCWRM Squad. Let's continue.
Still getting those parts.
You know what's interesting? Continuing off from where we left off with the previous part. You know what's the interesting thing too? There's also a reverse of the situation because back when Bungie was working with Microsoft. Hold on, cutscene.
Well, that'll get us to Azura.
Oh, about time.
Good job, Dizzy.
Wait, another Azura's Wrath?
No.
Also Azula, if you could mention.
Yeah.
It said Azura, it said in...
Well, still, it's a fancy term for, say, cyan.
The Azura's Wrath doesn't hold a monopoly on the word Azura, so...
Also,
I can't think of anything else that has the name.
Anyway...
That's also why you should expand your horizons, but go on, Pedro.
The interesting thing, too, is that back when Bungie was a second-party developer for Microsoft, you know, they were basically handling Halo, they pitched Destiny to Don Matrick, and Don Matrick didn't really like the pitch, so he didn't greenlight it.
Yeah, I think you told me.
But you know what's the interesting thing? And that's why they went third-party, so they could make Destiny with Activision. You know what's the interesting thing? Phil Spencer loves Destiny, and there's a lot of people, a lot of fans who are terrified that he's going to make Halo Infinite into basically a Destiny clone. so it's interesting because if Don Matrick had been fired sooner, maybe Bungie would still be making games for Microsoft to this day. That's the interesting part. Like that. So it also happened in reverse. Like even so it's kind of interesting.
It's also very sad when of all the choices, Activision seems to be the better one.
And
considering how it turned out to be, yeah.
Well, Activision have nothing to do with it now, so...
Not anymore, but I was talking about back in the day, Libs.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's been quite a few. While very few and far between. I've been seeing a couple of times recently, more often, that the bigger games are starting to be kept going without the quote-unquote aid of a major publisher.
What do you mean?
Destiny is no longer relying on Activision. IO Interactive just took back their own IP from Hitman from Square when they split.
Well, I understand what you mean, but keep in mind that Hitman has never been... IO never considered, even though it's their love child, Hitman has never been like a proper AAA super big IP to make. Still, not in a sense of degrading the quality of the product, but in a sense that he never had that hyper production value that had like Destiny may had.
There's also that's the interesting. Well, I can see what I can see what you mean. There's also the fact that apparently development as years go by, development of these games seems to be getting easier, considering developers like Hazelight and Azobo Studio. Azobo Studio for a long time was a very generic developer who, they did the PS2 version of Wall-E. They helped out the development of Quantum Break. They were basically just generic developers who were there to help out or port games, stuff like that. And now they went out and made a Plague Tale. Their first original IP, and made a big splash for themselves. So it seems like even indie developers are getting more comfortable with developing these kinds of games without the need for a big publisher.
Although on the subject of Destiny, apparently the Bungie's comms director did say that the reason for their split from Activision wasn't necessarily that Activision was a quote-unquote prohibitive overlord, as he would call it, that limited their creative control. Merely it was just because they had different ideas of where the franchise was going to go, and they split from there.
Well, yeah, if you watch I Hate Everything, he basically did cover both the first title and the second, and all of their expansion. And it tells at some point the fact that Bungie had ideas and storyboards in how they wanted the story to go, but Activision instead pushed in a different direction, and that's what ultimately split things up.
Yeah.
So in a way, Activision did interfere, just not in the way one may think.
And as much as it can easily be written off as, say, just spin to try and make sure that they don't burn bridges with people, I'm inclined to believe. I'm inclined to believe it.
All right.
Because to me, it's being said by a guy who actually works there, as opposed to bloody insiders.
Sure. All right. So in this section, we're gonna have ourselves a boss battle of sorts. There you go.
Yeah, I've seen it. These creatures, a couple of these creatures were sent by the Queen.
Yes.
Oh Jesus.
Here's the problem too.
Armored
yes. Unlike the Cantus we've fought previously in this series, this Cantus is armored, meaning you cannot defeat it with bullets. You have to use explosives.
Oh. Jesus.
Fortunately, the game will spawn explosives for you to get if you run out.
There you go. In order to weaken them.
Basically, it will take about 3 explosives to kill each one. Yeah, there's 2 of them.
But the cutscene, if I recall correctly, showed 3, so I wonder where's the third one? Jesus.
We'll see too. We'll see. Fortunately, look at that. There's a boom shot. There you go. This should work just fine.
Or maybe not.
Yeah, I think I'm first gonna try and kill the minor mooks, maybe. Now that I think about it, maybe.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm trying to kill the mook that's behind him. Yeah.
Nothing to see here, just your companion being slaughtered.
Why not shoot them in the knee and then they won't be able to fight back?
It seems all their body is reinforced in that kind of sense, Dweebs.
Yeah, all of their body is armored, so doesn't work. See, as you can see, it doesn't work.
What the hell was he doing?
Remember too, it's a Lambent, so.
Well, I know one area that might not be so easily.
Oh, never mind. No, it's not a. That's a locust.
Yeah, it's a sort of, it seems that he was doing like the Archval thing that he does in Doom 2, like raising his hands and resurrecting the companion.
If I remember correctly, I think it's Kanta. The Kantas has the power to do that to the mooks, I think.
Well, I know one area where it might not be so easily shielded.
Yeah. We all know what the obvious joke. There you go.
The neck.
All right.
I bet you thought I was going to say something else, eh?
I'm pretty
there you go, Theo. There's a third one.
I'm pretty confident, Dweebs, that the locusts do not have reproductive organs.
Well, actually, Theo. Theo. That's the thing, Theo. Gears 5 clearly tells us that yes, they do, because we learned the origin of the locust in Gears 5.
All right then.
Okay, that's the first thing I've heard today that I want.
Well, Theo, they have to reproduce themselves somehow. Of course, it's not like.
Well, you compare the standard orc-ish race that it's done for settings like sci-fi settings like this one, for example. Usually find an escamotage in saying they reproduce, usually like say with spores or something. But I guess we wanted to do a simpler approach here.
Let's just say, Theo, that Rod Ferguson has a completely different idea than you have about these things, these particular types of creatures.
Great.
That's all I'll say for now. All right.
So.
Yeah, Marcus says, "Wow, you son of a bitch."
Okay, so I'm writing in my war diaries for.
Basically, this torque bow has explosive arrows. So there you go.
All
right, guys. I've I've got a new hobby for us to keep us occupied during the in-betweens of battle. I've made a war diary that we can all write in if we wish, and I've written down the first part. It reads, Day 65,000 of this war. I just want it to end, but all I hear is shooting and screaming, and I still got bits of goo from the aliens everywhere. See, look, even as I mention it, my comrades are shaking in fear.
Please don't target miracles, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, that thing is clearly chasing me specifically. See? You see? That thing is
For fuck's sake.
It's clearly targeting me.
Lovely.
Well, it's gone now. So, Tio, don't say that.
Dweebs, it literally exploded. Unless we send
But
a
there'll be
new
another
one,
one.
it's not gonna... Oh, for fuck's.
You just had to
told
say
you.
it.
I told you.
I told you about stairs, dog.
I told you not to say that.
Well, this one is not targeting me specifically.
Oh, you just had to say that now, Pedro.
You see,
Oh my
it's not.
god.
Oh, snap.
Stop. Don't show me that tool.
You see, guys, it's by not listening to me that everyone dies. I try my best to be the sensible one.
Oh look, a
But you
fourth
always
one.
write off my ideas. But you
Uh,
always write off my ideas as being either unrealistic or silly. And yet, look what happens when you don't follow my ideas. We all die!
You get what you fucking deserve.
Yes.
I'm sorry. You always try and be the sensible one, Mr. Plunge into danger head first.
Yes, because what else are we supposed to do? We can't sneak by these guys.
Stand still, you fucker.
And cover's not going to help because we have those bloody snake things on the ground.
There we go.
Okay, flood the dock, and then everybody into the boat.
Yes, sir, Bender, sir. I mean, Marcus.
Sir.
To be fair, John's voice for Marcus is completely different than his Bender voice, so...
I hear a little tiny wee bit of Bender in there. But then again, once you've heard...
John
lots of
doesn't,
what
like
an
I said,
actor's
John...
famous for-
I said this in the 7 remake round with John doesn't have that much of a range, so they try to use him, in different ways. One of the best roles for him to me is... oh, no, I should have the cutscene. Look at that water effect.
Well, I'll tell you, for the 360, this was pretty good.
I know. I can imagine that.
The 360 came out in 2005, so...
yeah, I mean, to be honest, the only exclusive I can ever think of during the early years of the 360 was Bomberman Axe Zero.
Oh god, what have they done?
Cole, please.
You don't sound right. You got trouble?
We're heading for Azura now. We'll rendezvous with you outside the maelstrom. Might take
Yeah,
some time.
we're not gonna tell them this via communicator. We'll tell them about what happened in person.
Watch your six, Cole. Anya out.
Don't worry, Anya. I'll break it to them.
No, you won't.
Yeah, especially if Marcus does.
Yeah, because Marcus knows those.
Alright then. Alright, let's go.
Here's hoping he's sealed tight.
Don't worry, Teo. Dizzy knows his shit.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be alright.
Alright, and this, of course, is the game's excuse to have a submarine section. Act 4,
Watery
Chapter
grave.
6. Yeah, Watery Grave, ha 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 ha.
It bodes so well.
Why do I get the feeling that someone's gonna die in this chapter?
Oh,
Nah,
cool.
we-
They
no.
even have like turrets.
Well, not in this chapter. We've remember we've already had the one party member death scene in this game. So
What are you talking about? This is a supposed final game in the series. We've gotta have more death.
well, we'll see. We'll see how things go. For now, basically the idea of this at first. Oh, okay. Oh, come on. It was on screen. Didn't you read it?
Pay attention.
Yeah, who do you think you are? Apollo Justice.
Okay. We're
people just telling you stuff and you don't pay attention, and then when they bring it up again, you act as though this is the first time you've heard it.
All right.
I'm surprised no one ever brought that bit up when regarding criticizing Apollo Justice. You know, it's his bad habit of not paying attention to stuff, even though he's a lawyer.
There's Esteo made it.
Whatever.
Dwebs, Esteo made it very clear in his final thoughts. There's so much wrong with that game that it becomes hard to even know where to begin with. But
Heck, we had to pretty much separate our final thoughts into a separate video. There's just that much wrong with it.
Oh, anyway.
I mean, imagine if Phoenix didn't pay attention. It'd be a pretty short series. Anyway, go on.
Like not paying attention to the back of
Alright, so the basic
piece of paper.
so the basic gist of it is that for now we're not fighting enemies. However, there are proximity water mines, so we're gonna have to be careful for those and shoot them before we get to them, so that because if we touch them, they explode and we get hurt. It's not that big a deal, considering, remember, despite being a submarine, it's still operating on the same health system as the rest of the game. However, obviously, if you're playing on the harder mode... However, of course, if you're playing on the harder modes, obviously, you have to be a lot more careful. Don't worry, Teo. That thing is just minding its own business, it seems. It looks like we're fine.
Well, just as Liam Neeson said, there's always a bigger fish.
Oh, and he brought some friends too.
Yeah, I thought
nice.
for a second.
This is like the Jurassic Park whimsical moment, I guess.
Yeah, for a second there, Tio, I thought you were going to say Hakuna Matata.
Liam Neeson is in a Lion King product. Yeah, exactly. We're not really nice, friendly.
Well, no, it's just for some reason. Every time someone says, you know what they say, I keep thinking they're going to say Hakuna Matata at the end.
I don't know, Dweebs. I would think first of Eggman's repetitive lines in Shadow the Hedgehog. But, no, what I was saying before is that one of my favorite roles for John DiMaggio is Schnitzel in the Chowder cartoon. Why? In that, he's a rock monster that over all of his line of dialogues is consistently saying, Rada Rada. Don't stop. There's like one moment where, thanks to four-wall breaking shenanigans, he managed to speak normally, but the other characters like, nah, we would prefer you like that before.
Not to mention, Dwebs, remember, we don't need any Bender comparison, because remember, our canon with our canon is that after Dom's death, Marcus went into a really dark period in his life, and he became
Heidegger.
and he became Heidegger from Shinra. So he really turned to the dark side.
You know,
so.
it depends. Yeah, if
speaking of dark, jeez.
Actually, just got me thinking. If it were dark, he'd become Heidegger. But if his life just suddenly went to being all China rainbows, it might end up being Waka from 10. So.
Okay then.
That's a faint. That's a faint webs. Even when the gears, as Gears of War. Oh, hold on, cutscene. Kind of. Quiet.
Oh no.
Tio, quiet.
Hey, Tio, you like doing with Emerald Weapon?
Show me, you too. You talk when dead. Oh boy, I always love those ones with like 6 rows of teeth.
Reminder, Lambent
More than the Osmond family, yes.
Reminder that Lambent beings love water.
Oh, like Donny Osmond.
Well, G-Drova, turns out holding an entire city at the end of 2 really turned out to be a bad idea.
In fact, you know, that's what...
You get to see this all in lovely first-person view. Ready
yes.
for your
That's what Shinra should have done to the people of Midgar when he was going to get rid of it. Just flood the place. I mean, sure.
Shoot it in the face.
It's still unpleasant, but I mean, it's better. I mean, I don't know. I think drowning from a sudden, fast burst of water is a less messy death than being squished by falling to.
Well, the spoiling is right a bit for Dark Souls, since me, you, and Shira haven't got to that point yet. That's the kind of solution that Lord Gwyn did for one of its cities. Didn't work out, just saying.
Well, again, it depends on how well you do it, not necessarily the action itself.
Jesus.
Fucking mines.
Yeah,
I think-
If actually, this is something I do. Rather than letting the mines touch you, you destroy the mines first before they have a chance to blow you up.
Well, that was the idea, like I said earlier, Dibs.
I think I've realized again, part of the reason why the monster design in this game I feel is the best is because also this game has arguably the best variety and environment you can go to. So of course it would have some of the greatest monster variety as well to suit those different environments. Not to mention, it is the game where human lambents officially became a thing. So yeah, open wide.
Hello, we're the most extreme dentist you'll ever have. Open your mouth wide and say, ah!
And look at
I
that.
don't remember that mission in Super Mario Sunshine working like that.
And look at that tail. According to the game, it's called Leviathan.
I mean, sure, why not?
Oh, look at that! Plenty of emotion rising from the ground.
Even Subnautica called some of its bigger monsters like that.
Alright. Oh, it's stuck. Okay.
Well, I'm sure we'll never see him.
I mean, Leviathan is stuck, not us.
Oh, I thought, yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, if we were stuck, we'd be dead.
Oh snap! He's pulling us.
No. Give the monster a tooth filling.
Oh,
There we go.
Tell it we're its makeshift dentist. We've just come to fix his
Jesus.
teeth.
Talk about persistence.
Oh yeah, being wrecked. I mean, it's kind of implied.
Yeah. Let's have this the only submarine ride.
Not really a fan of submarines, or at least the thought of riding in one. You're essentially riding in a ship that's already sunk, just that it can resurface. But if that thing sinks, you're pretty much as good as done.
I know he told you to hold your fire. Pedro, he said hold your fire.
Well, there was that thing in front of me.
Whoa.
But he said hold your fire. You're supposed to follow orders. If you don't follow orders, if you don't follow orders, then eventually there'll be no chain of command.
I'm the
army would fall apart.
I'm the sergeant of the squad. I'm the sergeant of the squad. I decide the orders here.
Are you trying to mute me,
but that's only because the last sergeant was executed by Jova.
Actually, it was by Ram in the first game, but yeah.
Well, remember, Jova executed them because we found out that he stole all of Tio's rations, but Tio wouldn't go ahead with doing the execution himself, so Jova did it for him.
Sure, why not?
What an interesting lore you've developed there, Dwibs.
Oh Jesus, torpedo turrets.
What about the lore of the next two games? As you say, it's better than those.
Well, the next two games don't really. Well, okay. Here's the thing: the quote-unquote lore of the Coalition games is basically what happens in the original trilogy. You know, by the time, because it all boils down to the past. Well, okay, maybe Gears 5. No. Okay, to be clear, no. Gears 5 goes even further into the past to explain basically the origin of the Locust Queen and all that stuff. It's okay. It's not so much that the lore is bad. I guess it's fine. It's just not. It's just that the writers don't really do anything with it. It's just.
Let me put it like this: like, okay, you know that case where you have a character who really doesn't need their origin explained, but okay, some writer decides to. So that writer really puts a lot of heart and soul into it, but in the end, the result is just,
whatever.
Happened.
Yeah, it's like
yeah, that's in the universe now. Like, okay, the Locust Queen was something that you could infer stuff from. We didn't necessarily need to know her origins. That said, when you do learn her origins, it just raises more questions than answers, I'd argue.
Yeah, same.
Especially
it just raises too many questions.
Especially regarding when they pull I can't even say what franchise they're pulling from because that would pretty much spoil what's going to happen, but Trust me, you'll know exactly what franchise they're pulling from when certain plot revelations come up regarding the Locust Queen.
Looks like we're done.
Don't jinx it, Marcus.
Okay, keep your eyes open.
Hey, wasn't there a giant boss still after us?
I'll remember,
No, I
Java.
think
We
I think
kind
he
of
died in the cave-in.
he died in the
Or
cave.
did it?
Knock hard.
Well, we're almost done anyway. There you go. There's our destination.
Doors open.
Knock, knock.
Open up the door, it's real.
And there we
Hello.
go. That's the end of Act 4.
Oof.
Wow.
Wow,
Let's just be glad
it's not
that
over
Bear
till
was
it's
not
over.
on board with this.
I know,
Probably
right?
out more than me.
Okay,
It's
you
not-
can definitely tell that the monster designers had a lot of fun with this game, especially with setting up very unsettling scenes and everything.
Cause I ain't got much room in here to dodge.
Well, remember, Jova, this the whole thing of Gears, as envisioned by Cliff, was that it's a third-person action, popcorn shooter mixed with some horror elements. Which is what apparently Rod forgot, even though he worked on these as well. Like them.
Yeah, that's the thing. Starting with Gears 4, while they still keep the action, a lot of the horror. I
You
guess you
played,
could
so-
say the horror is technically there.
It's technically
it's
there, but
Plus,
it's
he didn't direct the fourth one.
no. But he was the producer. Remember, he was the one in charge.
He's pretty much the franchise runner at the time. Let's just say.
Yeah, it's more okay. Yeah, like Jova was just saying. Yeah, the horror elements technically are still present. It's just that they're not really used to much. They're just like sometimes they'll have these moments in 5 where they're in a dark room and stuff like that. But that's really it. Really, there's no moments like in Gears 1 where we see the shadow of the corpser eating Carmine.
Yeah.
There's no equivalent of that in Gears 4 and 5.
I think the best way to put it is like, well, it's sort of like
Home
Resident
away
Evil.
from home.
It's sort of like Resident Evil 6. The horror is technically there, but it's so weakly done
Oh.
that it's just there for contract's
Oh.
sake. Oh, lovely.
Lovely, yeah.
It is literally a sea of death out here.
So the government ship people out here? Nice of Prescott to keep us in the loop. Yeah,
Prescott wasn't telling you guys crap, honestly.
we weren't. Didn't save them though, did it?
Yeah, true.
Let's move. Dizzy, when we're clear, get out of the cave and stand by. The sub might be our only way out.
Yeah,
Jeez.
just in case.
Dizzy, take her down. We'll hook up again. See you later.
All right,
Okay.
everybody, welcome to the final act of Gears of War 3. Let's take it to the. Let's save Adam Phoenix and defeat the Locust Queen.
Once and for all.
Yes.
It has been a long, rough road with plenty of death along the way, horrors that none could ever imagine, deals that have had to have been struck, but now the final hour is at its toll.
Exactly. All right, everybody, tune in next time where we find Marcus's dad, Adam Phoenix. So
So, see ya.
see ya.
See ya.
See ya.